Hi everyone, and welcome to the Heal Naturally podcast show. My name is Athena Zolas, and today we are going to talk about another new and unique product range. A couple of months ago, I was at a consumer festival, and there was this one particular stand that was absolutely buzzing. It was buzzing for the entire 4 days that I was there, and really it was difficult to get anybody to talk to you. They were just so inundated by questions, and there was this excitement in the air for these particular products. And even though we look at new and unique products that aren't currently in mainstream retail, let me tell you, these products are going to grow like wildfire. So listen to this interview because it's going to be of benefit to you. This product and this interview are for those people that are suffering from conditions like anxiety and stress, insomnia, memory loss, addiction, joint pain, and so many other conditions. And I'm very, very excited to have the owners of Primal Organix with me today to talk about this absolutely amazing product range. So I'd like to introduce to you right now from Primal Organix, Mark Garbellotto, the sales director, and Frank Giampieri, the manufacturing director from Primal Organix. Welcome, guys. I apologise for my nasally tone. I am currently fighting a very, very bad cold, but I wasn't going to cancel this podcast interview. No way. So, Mark, let's start with you. Can you tell us a little bit about these amazing products?
Well, they are amazing, and thanks for the opportunity to do this podcast. We've been really looking forward to it. The products are amazing, and I probably will leave that to Frank to explain, what the products are, what are terpenes and how they work. But I think I'll give you a bit of basis on how this brand and the story behind how this has become. I mean, the business is evolving very, very quickly, and our products now, they will be a household brand before we know it. So just some background. We've got two different people from two different worlds. I'm a corporate trainer in the corporate arena and have been for 10 years. I ran a registered training organisation. I had a 100-seat training centre. And my cousin, my business partner, Frank Giampieri, he was an award-winning pastry chef all his life, won over 40 awards to my Grace Brothers at the Royal Melbourne Show in the days, was a Melbourne boy, and then married his sweetheart and left and went to live in Western Australia. That was 30 years ago. And, time goes on, you get married, you have kids, divorces, whatever, all this stuff happens, and 30 years passes. And through, unfortunately, funerals, my dad, Frank's mum, our uncles passing away over about a 3-year period, we started meeting up again and at funerals, as you do, and started talking. And Frank was explaining, what he was doing in WA with his education and his research on different alternative medicines to pharmaceutical products. And I was quite obviously intrigued by that. And then when I started to hear about some of the results that he was getting, for his patients, I just couldn't believe what I was hearing. So then I met some of these people, and I met some of these doctors and these pharmacists and bioscientists that were referring patients to Frank, and it was absolutely just amazing. So from there, just one second. Sorry. From there, basically, we started talking, and what I guess the main ingredient was Frank's wife Bev. She said, if Mark has all these connections and does a lot of corporate training and trains all these people, he could potentially be a good voice for this business because Frank has got these amazing products. And so with that, we started this conversation, and about a year and a half ago, we started talking, and Frank was sending me products. I was looking at them, I was giving them out to people, and then from there, I went, well, this is really interesting. We looked into the space, and then all of a sudden, we said, all right, let's launch this business, and we formed a company, and that was Terpene House back in. It's not even a year old now. And from there, the first thing, we had to raise capital. If you don't have capital, you can't have a business. And, I got 3 kids at a private school. I already had a company, so I was mortgaged up to the hill like most people. So I started going to investors to, raise capital. And it was the most funniest thing because, as a sales trainer, I teach people about the fear of rejection and self-esteem and how to sell and all this stuff. So I was back on the road raising capital. And if you see the old bottles that we used to have, they look like a snake oil, and they were this hippie Byron Bay bottle. And there you go, Frank's got it there. And
I can see it.
People would laugh at me. They'd absolutely just laugh at me. And I'd go out and I said, "Don't worry, I'm going to get the money, Frank. I'm going to get the money. I'm going to get the money." And obviously, after knocking on probably about 50 people's doors, we finally got a breakthrough, and we raised our first capital raise, and we've raised 3 times since then. And now we're doing another major capital raise. So we got that. We started getting the products. We started getting the brand together. And then, we started doing launching, started talking to people. And then, about 5 months ago, our first practitioner started using it. And then about 4 months ago, then they went into retail stores. And just recently, we've done 4 big deals with major distributors, and we launched in September 2019, and we'll be in hundreds of shops by the end of the year. And then we got a whole range of, obviously, the terpene-based products, which Frank will go into in a moment. But what people don't understand, as an award-winning pastry chef that Frank is, we are going to become Australia's #1 health products for therapeutical food, beverages and skin, because we have a range of products. Now, I've been using these skin products for probably a year now. They're fantastic. My wife uses them. My daughter uses them. It's just what we call Frank is a mad scientist, and he's fantastic. So I'm going to hand it over to Frank, and he's going to explain to you the first range of products, which is the therapeutical range of products called terpenes, and the entourage effect, and some of the research that he's done with in 2011 with Dr. Ethan Russo, who is a pharmacist. So I'm going to hand it over to Frank to explain what are terpenes.
Okay, if I could just ask a question, Frank. You developed these products. You obviously went through a very, very difficult period. We're talking about grief here with the death of family members. So what was the reason for you to start doing your research and to actually develop these products for yourself? What sort of conditions were you suffering from?
Well, unfortunately, Athena, for the major part of my life, possibly 40 years even, I did suffer from bipolar.
Yeah.
And bipolar takes no prisoners.
No.
It was quite severe at times. The job didn't really help because of the manic state the job kept doing, because you're always behind the bullet in that food kind of industry. And so, for me, I suffered for many years. I made many mistakes. 30 years away from the family as well was really part of half the issue. I couldn't deal with things.
On medication? Frank?
No. I tried medication 25 years ago. It did not have a very good effect for me. The doctor who prescribed that medication for me was quite flippant with his prescriptions. He would just open his drawer and he'd have a bunch of sample ones there, and he would just try this one, try this one, try this one. It got to a point where I had a complete breakdown, I believe, because of the medications. And so from that point on, I had never really had any interest in any pharmaceutical medications at all.
Okay.
I probably haven't been a doctor for about 18, 20 years. I won't go at the drop of a hat. If I'm ill and I know I've got an infection, I need an antibiotic, I will go to the doctor. There's no question that will help. I think with those types of drugs, the problems occur when you don't stop taking them, or you take too many. With a painkiller, you get you may get addicted because you just can't stop taking them.
Well, I mean, there's so much publicity around that now. The addiction issue is absolutely huge. But you must have you obviously got to a point. I mean, to have such a serious mental condition, you managed to get yourself to a point where you said, "I've got to find something for myself."
Yeah, there's no question. I was exhausted. I'd studied so much at that stage that I started to realise what was wrong.
Yeah.
I then realised that my mother was possibly the poster girl for bipolar. You know, the old saying, if you look in the dictionary, there'll be a picture of my mum there.
Yeah.
And so, I had a lot of issues with mum. But once I actually studied and realised what was going on, I understood that she was sick. She was ill. And then from there, it was easy to make the assumption that I was also ill, mentally ill to a degree.
So it was in the family history. It was in the family history.
There's no question. No question. And so from there, that's when the journey really started to try and heal or try and balance my moods, because they were extreme. They were completely extreme.
So I've got to congratulate you on that. Because not everybody gets to that point of being so desperate that they want to help themselves. So here you are, you're unwell, your life is out of control.
Definitely.
You've sat down, you're a pastry chef. You have absolutely no idea about the natural therapy industry. Where do you start to find these products that we're going to talk about? Like, if you can, very quickly, because I'm sure it was over a number of weeks.
It was over a long period.
Where the hell do you start?
Have you got about 4 hours?
Because I can talk, and Mark will attest to that. I can talk, But look, at that stage there, it was fairly, it was really starting to, hit the news that cannabis products, CBD oil, and those sorts of things were starting to.
What year?
Well, must be about 2014.
Okay.
Yeah, all right. Around there, I think that's when it really started to hit hard here in Australia. It was already, been prevalent all around, in the US, as we know. California, I think, had 25 years worth of medical cannabis already.
Yeah.
And so, it was starting to hit, and so there was a fair bit of information coming out. So I just kept studying, and I watched some videos, and I stumbled across a video of a gentleman who created a cream, and he said the recipe is here. He showed the method, and he said if this cream was on the shelves in the shops, there'd be nothing else. He wouldn't need anything else. This cream would cover every single ailment you could have. And so I made it.
So you made the cream, but the cream was obviously topical.
Yes, that's correct.
Obviously.
Yeah, that's how it all started. Yeah.
Okay, so you got the cream.
So at that stage,
you got the cream.
So at that stage there was where I injured myself.
Yeah.
So I popped a few discs in my neck. Both my shoulders are off the bone, and it's full of bursitis and things like that. So, I really needed some relief. Again, very, very reluctant to go down the pharmaceutical road because of the bipolar, because of the mental sort of imbalance. Very easy to become addicted, and so I avoided that at all costs. Once I made this cream and applied it, I was blown away. I couldn't understand. I couldn't even comprehend that it could help me in 10 seconds.
Amazing.
So the first thing I did, So the first thing I did from there was to ring all my mates who were still working as bakers and pastry cooks, who were, very, very similar to me body-wise, and handed it out to those guys, and got some excellent results. They couldn't believe it either, and they were, kind of turned their day around at work because they could get through. And so from there, I continued to study down the cannabis line of things. That was where all the information was, even the terpenes. And so that's, as Mark mentioned, Ethan Russo, who's a leader in cannabis studies, I guess, across the board. I stumbled across him very early in the piece, which then shed light on terpenes and the entourage effect, which is the idea, which I might add hasn't really been proven scientifically at this stage, that the whole plant is far more therapeutic than parts of it being isolated and used one thing at a time.
Okay.
So it's called the entourage effect. So the sum of the whole plant is far more therapeutic. And so he's done some great research, but for me, what he did was just shed light on the terpene products, on just terpenes, as opposed to CBD or THC-based products. And so, the laws are fairly plain. We all know what they are. And so, going down that road would be, a breach of those laws, obviously, and quite dangerous. And so, unfortunately, study was something that we had to go down. So we studied and studied and studied until I got to the point where, most of the time I was looking to actually access terpenes in Australia because no one really knows what they are. The TGA has no idea what they are, and most people don't seem to know what they are. And so it was difficult to access terpenes. Once I was able to actually finally access terpenes, then I could actually start making the products.
Okay.
I made the products.
Okay, if I can just stop you there, I just want to clarify.
Yeah.
This is not medicinal cannabis
No,
that
not
we're
at all.
talking
No,
about.
it has
These products are taken orally that we're talking about.
Yes, that's correct.
And the ingredient in these products is terpenes.
Yes, terpenes.
Okay,
Terpenes.
so let's talk about what is a terpene.
Okay, yeah. All right, so firstly I'll say that terpenes are 100% legal and completely unscheduled by the government, which is
and it's a natural therapy.
And it's a natural therapy and a natural product. And so terpenes, at the end of the day, we can describe them, the easiest way we can describe them is that terpenes take place in the aroma of plants across the board. And so there could be 30 to 40,000 different terpenes in the world. And some of the study has also indicated that when we have a day that is smoggy, it's because all the plants have decided to release terpenes at once. For whatever reason they don't know yet, but that's where smog comes from, it appears. And so if we keep it simple and understand that terpenes are really the aroma of plants. So the aroma of a lavender plant is caused by linalool, which is the main ingredient, which is a terpene, and that's what you're smelling. And so the terpene linalool will be isolated from an extraction of lavender plant or any other plant. So they can come from lavender, sage, hops, all those types of plants. It would be extracted and isolated as linalool, which is the main ingredient of a lavender essential oil.
Okay, so we're talking about the scent. So that beautiful
scent, the actual scent
that we get from the essential oils. If we look at essential oils, because everybody understands essential oils.
Yeah. So the essential oil, as I mentioned, the lavender essential oil has got a beautiful scent of lavender. That scent is being perpetrated, if you like, by linalool.
Okay.
Linalool is a terpene.
And that's what you're extracting.
That's exactly, We use isolated terpenes that come from these plants. So as we said, linalool comes from lavender and sage and hops and things like that, obviously mostly from lavender.
Yeah.
Beta-carotene, which is another terpene, also comes, I just got a thing up there, also comes from black pepper or sage and those sorts of things. Leafy greens, our leafy green vegetables are full of beta-carotene as well. That's why they have why people would have kale in their juice or eat kale is to reduce inflammation. How it reduces inflammation in one of the ways is because it carries beta-carotene. The other way it reduces inflammation is the chlorophyll, the green colour.
Okay.
That's extremely beneficial for inflammation and that sort of thing. And so, again, terpenes are what make essential oils so beneficial.
Okay, so all of our essential oils have got terpenes in it.
Every one of them.
Every single one of them. Okay, so we're already using them.
Yes.
In our everyday lives. What you've done is you've extracted the terpene out of these plants, and have you combined several of them in these formulas?
There's a couple that have a combination. Engage is a combination of a number of terpenes. There's a couple that are singles on their own for various reasons. Linalool terpene is to be calm. That works efficiently enough on its own, so we leave that one on its own. Engage has got, as I mentioned, a number of terpenes. I created Engage specifically to help children from 6 years old to 14 years old. It'll help everyone, mind you, but when I created it, when I developed it, that's what I had in my head and my heart, that it was going to help those children who are suffering from, ADHD, all those labels that everyone puts on these things, the imbalance, the anxiety of getting up and going to school and facing bullies or facing a teacher that is only teaching that section of the class because they understand and the other section doesn't. I might be sitting in the section that doesn't understand, so every day I go to school anxious and just knowing that I'm not going to learn anything because I'm not being taught how I understand.
Well,
all these little sort of
there's a lot of children in that situation. Can we go through before you start about each? You talk about each individual product. Can you just go through the list of products that you have? Because I know your Engage product, and it's in liquid form. If you've got one there, if someone can hold it up, and I think it's in a 30 ml bottle.
Yeah.
The
So
Engage.
it's a dropper bottle.
That's it. The Engage. How many drops? How many drops?
Well, the desired amount is written on there. The dosage. It's about 3 to 5 drops.
Okay.
We try to make it 3 to 5 drops 4 times a day. So I try to keep it familiar for people, who have, we've all been down the medication road. It's usually 3 to 4 times a day, every 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah.
It's very familiar. It's very habitual. The idea of taking these things, in a positive, forward-moving fashion. I take them every day at this point here as a supplement to keep me level.
Okay.
If I need some more support, I can take them at any time I like.
Okay, and perfectly safe, you're saying. From what age?
Yes. Oh, well, at this stage here, we have tried them with an 18-month-old. No adverse reaction, only positive ones, but only a couple of times it's been tried. We have a 3.5, 4-year-old now who's been on it for about 3 months.
Yeah.
She now has had such success with it that she actually goes and asks her mum for her drops when she feels she needs
What's her condition?
She's just extremely anxious. She's on the scale, just a short way up the autism scale. Extremely sort of stops and just puts her head in her hands and can't sort of cope with what's going on.
Good grief.
A lot of the time. Yeah, so that's turned her life around now. She's been using 3 to 5 drops here and there, not on a regular basis.
Okay.
3 to 5 drops during the day here and there and getting great results. Her mum can't believe how good it is. We've also had quite a few 8 to 10-year-olds who have been using the anxiety product, which is the anti-anxiety blend. They've had, so their children, these ones in particular were children who were about 8 or 10 years old. They couldn't get to school. They were extremely anxious to get to school. Mum would have to, drag them out of bed and get them dressed because they just didn't want to get it done. You'd have to get them to the car, walk them all the way up to the door, and promise 100 times they'd be back to pick them up, at 3:30 or whatever time it is these days. After 4 days, 2 of those children, after 4 days, were getting out of bed and getting dressed before their mums were ready, and they weren't even waiting for their mums to take them to the front door of the school. They weren't interested anymore. They knew their mum was going to be there.
Sounds amazing. I want to go through the range, though, just so that it's clear for everybody. Now, how many in the range? How many different products in the Entourage range?
All right, so there's 9 products. There's 8 products that are in oral drop form.
Yes.
And then there's 1 product which is a spray for pain.
Okay, so let's just go through this. We're talking about it being great for children. The age group that you would recommend, I would say, would be at least from 2 to 3 upwards at this stage.
Yeah, look, I think at this stage we can say that without any worry.
Okay.
We've had quite a few tried at that point. They are very very stable substances. I make them according to all the rules. It's impossible to have any really any overdose effect or anything like that. There's no psychoactivity or anything like that. Also,
are they pure, Frank? Are they pure?
Yes, they are.
Okay, so they're not mixed in with anything else to dilute it.
Oh, sorry, I misunderstood your question. The terpenes themselves are pure.
Yeah.
The product is carried in coconut oil, MCT.
Yeah.
For its availability, I'm not sure if we all know, but uric acid is an incredible product. Mother's milk is full of uric acid and endocannabinoids, an anandamide and 2AG.
Okay.
We won't get into that too much. But the reason I carry it in coconut oil or MCT, high MCT coconut oil, is because of the uric acid content and the availability that brings. It's all about availability when we're talking about this type of product.
Yeah.
It's also encapsulated with lecithin to make it more available again. I believe the mitochondria of our cells is extremely high in lecithin, maybe as high as 97%, I believe. And so, we're trying to create what I guess we could sort of sum up a Trojan horse that enters the cell and gives the cell a specific direction.
Okay.
And so the other thing we do with it is ultrasonication. So we sonicate the product for a few minutes to break it down to a very, very small particle so that it is even more available to the body. And that's why I believe we get such quick results with such little amount.
So obviously your body absorbs it immediately, doesn't necessarily...
Yeah, very quickly, yeah. There's no question. I mean, as Mark will attest to, we've seen, I don't know, maybe 4,000 people, you know, at the shows. You know, we've seen it all happen in 20, 30 seconds in front of us. Every time. The woman was here the other day. Within 10, 15 seconds, the look on her face changed. Our daughter's just started using Engage as well because it's a bit tricky for her to get to work. Because it's a high stress situation. She's a pastry chef too, believe it or not. And so, yeah.
She didn't learn.
She works at the bakery. She works at the patisserie where me and her mother met.
Oh,
and so,
wow!
I know, it's crazy.
What a story
everyone she works with. Yeah, everyone she works with knew her when she was about 8.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
that's
but, you know, so she does have a bit of pressure on her because of because of me and being who I was in the trade. And so she does get a bit of a bit of anxiety. One of my best mates is her boss, and he's extremely hard on her because he knows if he doesn't do the right thing, Frank might get upset with him. Yeah, which is quite funny.
So any side effects? I mean, you've seen.
Look,
you've seen it.
We haven't seen any side effects.
Any side effects?
We haven't really seen any, but I will touch on what they call the slingshot effect. Are you familiar with that?
No, I've never heard of it.
Okay, so it's something to keep in mind. Now, a lot of time people who suffer from anxiety or depression, those sorts of conditions, you know, can take an antidepressant, feel pretty well, or an antidepressant type product, whether it be a prescription one or a normal one, a natural one, feel pretty well, and maybe find themselves at the end of the day or the next day being right down in the bottom of another depression.
Yeah.
And so they're starting to call that now the slingshot effect.
Oh, yeah.
We haven't had any reports of anything like that, but I have done some study on it of late and had quite a bit written down, which we're going to put into our information as well. And so the slingshot effect kind of revolves around the idea that if you're going to suffer from anxiety, you're going to suffer from anxiety. If you're someone who does suffer from anxiety, there's not a lot we can do about it. It's only management, management and control. It's not a question of being able to cure anxiety because no one really knows what it is. I mean, the amygdala in the brain has got a lot to do with anxiety. The conscious mind, the subconscious mind. I'm not sure if you've touched on this at all.
Well, it's you know, I think we're up to 1 in 4 Australians suffer from anxiety, and actually I read a stat. I did a blog on it. That takes the average anxiety sufferer 7.5 years to seek help. 7.5 years people are living with anxiety, and I know anxiety well because I had debilitating anxiety some 10 years ago. Debilitating. As a matter of fact, I had to leave my career because of it.
In the past, I've been able to make that.
And so I know exactly what you're talking about, and I have never come across a feeling like it before. I didn't know what it was. There wasn't anything at that point that could help me.
On the news today, I was saying to Frank this morning that on the news today, they reported that the number one reason why people go to a GP now is for anxiety and stress.
Yeah.
That's the number one
I don't
reason.
know what's going on. I'm not quite sure why we've got this epidemic. And, you know,
people are talking about it more now. You know,
I think so,
we didn't talk about it. I remember my dad having, you know, the kind of problems. But that was just, you know, as Frank said, he's had them, I've had them, everybody gets it. Everybody's going to get it throughout their life, but now we're just communicating, and we've got, are you all right day? You know, we've just seen Spud, this amazing footballer from the St Kilda Football Club. You know, it's tragic as that is.
With Danny Crawley.
And you know, you look at social media, that's playing a massive part in it, you know, because people are anxious. They're driven by, you know what people think of me, how I look, and it's incredible, you know.
It's a shocker. There is a difference, however, between being anxious is part of everyday life, because we do. I mean,
definitely.
you might get anxious before an interview, or you might get anxious before an exam, or that is very different.
I had some of that.
Yeah, well, that's very different to anxiety.
Definitely.
When you're suffering because your body shuts down. It literally shuts down.
Mm.
So
I ended up about 6 months ago. I ended up in hospital from an anxiety attack. I thought I was dying. I thought I was having a heart attack. I was at my friend's place, and the ambulance came. They put all the things on me, and I said, "I'm dying." They're like, "There's nothing wrong with you." And I got to the hospital, and the guy in the ambulance said to me, "This is one of the biggest things that we see in people." I then got checked out by the cardiologist. I was in there for 5 hours, and nothing wrong with you. And they told me to go home.
Oh, look, I've been there many times, because you just don't know. It actually feels like you're having a heart attack. What are you going to do? Are you going to sit there and wait, thinking that oh no, this is anxiety?
Exactly.
You have to react. You reacted exactly the way you need to react. The amount of times that I've been in emergency with the same thing. I'm having a heart attack. Fortunately, I can manage it, and you're absolutely right, Frank. I don't think you ever get over it. You never get over it.
You're just going to manage it. Yeah.
You learn to manage it, and you've got to do things in your life like meditation or to have these products on hand.
You've got to be proactive.
You've got to be proactive. You have to be proactive.
We all need to take that responsibility back. Now, it's so easy these days. We just go down there and they'll do it for us, or we'll go there and they'll do it for us. That's half the issue for me. We're not, a lot of people aren't doing things anymore. They're just expecting it done for them. And so I feel that we need to sort of get back to that slingshot effect, because it's quite important and gives some insight how and why we do have anxiety.
Yeah.
And so if we go back to it, then we talk about an anxiety threshold. We've all got an anxiety threshold.
Yes.
These products and other products can remove that threshold or remove that anxiety. Once that's removed, what we've got to understand is that if we're people who suffer from anxiety, there's another one ready to go there. Yeah,
that's
we can get rid of that one too.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
But we'll get another. We'll get another one in, and so the situation is that we must persist. We must persist. We must take the responsibility on ourselves and continue and push through. If I get through my anxiety today, but tomorrow there's another one, I'll just have to keep going and get through that one too. I've got to manage every single one.
But that's the key. That's the key. Why wait 7.5 years before you seek help? Don't do it. To everybody who is out there, if you get nothing else out of this publicity, if there is no other message that you get other than you've got to help yourself, no one else is going to do it for you, and you've got to find what helps you, because what helps you and what helps me could be two different things.
Totally different.
Except
100%.
For these products that may
come
in these conditions. So now, can we go to the products and quickly go through what conditions they're used for? Let's start again with that Engage, which I've got may assist with confidence, self-esteem, social anxiety, and mood. So is this the one for anxiety?
No, I would call this one, as you just said, it's the social anxiety one. This one here I would take on a regular basis, kind of like you would take a supplement, a food supplement or a dietary supplement.
Yeah.
And this would then just continue to give me balance through the day, every day.
Once a day?
If I have, I would follow the what's on there, so 3 to 5 drops 4 times a day.
Okay.
Upon building on itself, you will find balance. There's no question. That's how we've seen it. That's how it's been developed. That's how it's been tested on people. If we have a situation where, as you mentioned, that crippling anxiety, what I call the pit of the stomach anxiety, which is just so heavy, you can't get up.
Yeah.
Then I would use the anxiety blend. That's what that one's made for. That one is to target that deep, paralysing anxiety, the anti-anxiety blend.
Can you bring that one up? Which one are you? Is it called anxiety?
Yeah, it's either called chill or anxiety.
Okay, so it's called chill. Yes, because I know that there'll be people that are writing all this down as they're listening to it.
Yeah.
So,
just on the engage, we go back to that when we talk to people about that, the way that I kind of sum it up is that it gives you composure, posture, resilience, self-esteem.
Fantastic.
You know, they're the words that, you know, when I watch teenagers have this in front of their parents, you know, they go from like this, where there's no eye contact, link handshake, to like this. It kicks them up a gear within 30 seconds, and the parents are just like astounded, and we say, "How do you feel?"
Parents who break out into tears.
Yeah, they break out, and we say to the teenager, "How do you feel?" And the number one comment that we get, "I feel okay. I feel okay," and that's exactly what we're looking for. And they say, "How am I meant to feel?" That's perfect. You're feeling okay, because as Frank will tell you, it just kicks you up, it puts the accelerator on it, and it just gives you that composure and that posture and resilience to be able to go, I can deal with what I need to deal with. And it's absolutely amazing.
I love it.
Yeah.
So that's
very,
engage.
very
That's engage. The chill. I didn't write down your description for chill. So what are we looking at there?
All right, so chill is the myrcene product. So that's the myrcene-based product, and that is for the severe anxiety, the crippling anxiety.
That was for the one that I had. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That's what that one would be used for. Now, when we discuss, also we can go to, so we've done chill, or anti-anxiety blend, and we've done engage. So now we'll talk about be calm, which is
that's the next one I've got here, because calm. Now, sleep. So if you suffer from insomnia, broken sleep, which is actually part of anxiety or depression.
Yeah, there's no question. Yeah, so your lack of sleep or your insomnia is the reaction. We're looking at the action. The action might be anxiety, it might be stress, might be whatever it may be. And so, we developed the Be Calm to exactly that, just to calm people. So I can make it strong enough that it'll knock you off. But that's not the intention of it. The intention of it is to bring balance. And by the time that, 45 minutes after you take the Be Calm product, you're ready to go to sleep. It doesn't put you to sleep, it puts you in a position of readiness.
Okay,
it relaxes the body.
Okay, so I don't take this during the day. Is it going to make me feel lethargic?
Look, again, I'll have to get into that in a minute. So, during the day for people who aren't, so, look, there's two sides to bipolar, as we know. There's the manic side and the depression side. I would use Be Calm for someone who is manic to bring them back down, and I would use engage or anxiety blend to bring them back up if they are down. So those two sides of the coin are balance.
Okay.
Yeah? That's the whole idea with the Be Calm. And so Winaloo has been studied extensively. They all have been studied just ridiculously.
Yeah.
But we don't know anything about them, which is really strange.
Yeah.
Winaloo has now been studied of late and has become extremely efficient at reducing people with anger issues. And so again, we're looking at we're looking at an overactive. It's an overactive central nervous system. It's overly sympathetic, and so mania starts to come in and creep in, and so we get more and more up. When I was manic probably 98% of the time. Everything was a fight. Everything. I'd walk down to the supermarket. Everyone in there would say, "Oh, here he comes again," and they'd avoid me. I've changed so much now. So now I've changed so much now that when my wife goes down there by herself, they all ask where Frank is. Yeah,
they like you now.
They love me now. Yeah, it's just ridiculous.
They actually like you.
Yeah, but, that happened with these products. There's no question. But it also happened with what we've been discussing, and that is that I took the first step. You've got to take the first step.
You can't wait for anybody. You can't blame anybody.
Definitely.
You've got to do it yourself. Go out 100%, and find what works for you. Okay, so that's calm. And above your sleep, stress,
just got to keep going. After you take the first step, take the next one, and on it goes.
Now, I'll tell you which one I love. I love your description for, and I love the name, Stop.
Yeah.
Stop.
Definitely, yeah.
Stop.
Just stop.
May assist with cravings, helps break through addiction.
Yeah.
So you're talking about, and this is very serious. You're talking about
Yeah, it is.
alcohol addictions, smoking addictions,
Yeah.
food addictions, and this also gives you brain support.
Yeah. So nervous system support. It's analgesic as well. So look, the idea of, if we all could get our head around what causes addiction, what causes someone to become addicted. I mean, we can get so deep and start talking about, all the parts of the brain that are in charge of these areas,
Yep.
but it's just a bit too deep.
Yes.
But if we sort of make it a little bit easier and understand that I could become an alcoholic and crave alcohol and become addicted to alcohol because I'm just imbalanced. And I'm looking for something that gives me that balance. And sometimes it's a bad thing. It's an addiction. Now, if I eat chocolate, it releases anandamide in my body. Anandamide is our bliss molecule, and which is also chemically equivalent to THC. It's our own THC that we create in our body. And so it has an affinity for the receptor, the CB1 receptor. So once we release anandamide in our body, the bliss molecule, we start to find balance, or we find happiness, or we're calm, and we're balanced. And so if I get that from chocolate, because it's having an effect on my anandamide and it's controlling it a bit, or it's putting it out when I haven't got any, it's not totally balanced, but that's kind of what's happening, then it's going to be very easy for me to continue to eat chocolate because it makes me feel good, and I'm looking to feel good. Someone who's an alcoholic continues to drink alcohol for a number of reasons, but the main reason is that they are looking to feel good.
It can be a predisposition as well. I mean,
there's no question, yes, no question. But, for me, everything starts at balance, the central nervous system. If we've got too much glutamate, we're hyperactive, we're manic. We haven't got enough GABA in the system. These products and some other products obviously will bring GABA back in and balance glutamate, which then allows the central nervous system to take control again, reduce neural inflammation, and then the brain takes back over and starts to fix what's broken. Now, for the last few days, I've had a fair bit of pain. The other day I woke up and I couldn't move my left arm again. It was just kind of limped down here. And so, it's easy then, then I start, when I have those days and those issues, I start to understand how people get addicted.
Yes.
Because the pain is so severe.
Yes.
That you just take something.
Just
and
anything.
It's like, oh my God.
Anything to get rid of the pain.
Yeah, it's gone.
Yep.
Yeah, it's gone.
Yeah.
The next day comes and you feel that pain again. It's like, well, I tell you what, it was pretty easy to take one of those Xanax or whatever they use these days. I might take another one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I've come across people who've been on 800 to 1,000 milligrams of tramadol a day. I didn't even know their own names, these people. They may as well be heroin addicts at the end of the day. And so, to avoid that situation, you've got to find that balance through something that doesn't give you that. Yeah. And so why the stop product works is because it's bringing balance to those chemicals. So if I'm missing an anandamide, or if I need a bit more cortisol or less cortisol, or serotonin needs to be balanced, and that leads me to an addiction, then these products will stop that and then hopefully not lead you to the addiction.
Amazing. It actually sounds too good to be true.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I will admit, yes.
It really does.
I can tell you something. It's better than good, and it's very true.
Well, I'm in awe of it. I'm so excited because so far it looks like I need every single one of them. Let's go on to one that I do want to talk about again, very close to my heart. And again, I love the title of it. Free.
I know we should.
Free. I'll tell you why I love this. Pain relief, inflammation, mood balance. I had a hip replacement last year because of serious osteoarthritis in my hip, and it's not in the family. I'm the lucky first. The pain for 6 months was so debilitating that I was sleep deprived for 6 months and went in for emergency hip replacement. Would that have freed me of this shocking pain in my joints?
Yes, look, it would definitely go a long way to do that. So if we take the substance in free, it is beta-carotene, BCP for short. BCP is nature's strongest and natural anti-inflammatory. BCP also has the same method of action as CBD oil in the body, and so it has a stronger affinity for the receptor than CBD does. And so we get all the benefits that CBD gives you in a product that is not derived from any legal plant at this stage, or something that's difficult to get, or something that may give you a positive, sort of test on the rover at work. And so beta-carotene for me, is the substance in cannabis that it makes it pain relieving. There's no, after all these testings and all these people have tried it, there's no question. I can't see how it couldn't be. To be honest, it seems so far more efficient as well on its own, which is astounding.
Well,
and so the way
there weren't any pain meds that helped me, I can assure you. And I tried the strongest. And this is where we go back to addiction. How easy would it have been for me just to take these tablets to get some sleep night after night? I was very lucky actually that they didn't work. Very lucky that they didn't work.
Yeah. So again, when we have an injury, or if there's inflammation starts from the brain turning inflammation on to fix something, and can't turn it off again. And so the only way you're going to stop that is to recommunicate the brain with the immune system. As I mentioned before, these products are extremely efficient at stopping glutamate receptor hyperactivity, which is what sends the central nervous system into imbalance, which then puts the brain in neural inflammation. Once the brain's in neural inflammation, it can't turn off the inflammation that's turned it on. That it's turned on somewhere, so it's pro-inflammatory, it's over-inflammatory. You can't turn it off, and that's why we continue to have this pain sometimes. And so the way these products work, as you're starting, I think, to see now, is that they start at the action. What's the action for my pain? It's my brain that is still continuing the inflammation. That's one of the actions. The other action is it's an actual injury, of course. That injury, that area that's injured will fill with receptors, CB1, CB2 receptors. CBD or beta-carotene or a THC-based medicine obviously will have interaction with those receptors that are in the cell, enter the cell and give the cell a definite direction, or turn the cell's chemoprotection on, or give the cell a direction and tell it what to do.
There's a lot of letters there that you're talking about. A lot of letters to get your head around. I'm just happy to read this description as to how it's going to help me. Now, are we talking about, is the next one the last one, which is focus?
We've got focus.
Focus. How many of us go into a room thinking, what the hell did I come into this room for?
Yeah, definitely.
What am I after? What was it? Or you walk into the supermarket and think, hang on a minute, weren't there 3 items that I was supposed to buy? Yeah. What was it? So focus.
That's what that's. Yeah.
Very simple.
Focus is very simple. Look, it's exactly that. It is seen as nature's own smart drug. Those smart drugs that they've created there in Silicon Valley. Modafinil, I think they're called, somewhere along those lines.
Haven't heard of them.
So they're chemically created drugs. This one here is from pine, as we know, from pine tree, pine needles, even pine cones, I believe. And so it has a direct interaction with the brain. There is a term that's used, but I've left it out because the word is almost unpronounceable.
Yeah.
That how it interacts, but it is exceptional for brain fog, for confidence, for energy. And again, because it's such a strong anti-inflammatory, also extremely strong anti-carcinogen, pinene. Pinene is one of the highest terpenes in hemp, if you like. Let's just say hemp for now. Hemp is everything, as I think we probably all understand. Yeah, hemp is cannabis at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It's just very low THC or high THC is the difference. So it's one of the strongest ones in there, next to myrcene and beta-carotene. And so the action here is, again, reducing neural inflammation. That's basically the action. Again, having a direct response to the central nervous system, and just calming things down so you can actually see what's in front of you.
Because
we've had a lot of people.
What the big thing is now with inflammation, and that is that the one way, if you don't want to take medication, the one way to control inflammation in the body is through your diet. But the diet is quite extreme that they're talking about, and if you follow that diet, it can rid your body of inflammation, because inflammation will corrode your joints and your cartilage and everything. It is so serious. I don't know whether everyone's aware of it, but inflammation in your body.
Yeah, I mean,
if it's not there for healing, because we need it for healing, but if you're unfortunate to have, a body full of inflammation, your joints are going to start going.
Yeah, no question. I mean, I'm in that position myself, which is neither here or there at this stage. You've got to manage it. Just manage it. You've got to be proactive and manage it.
That's right. Okay,
there's no question. Look, some of the latest information that's come out and studies that have come out on dementia and Alzheimer's and things like this are indicating that the amyloid plaque is being developed by the brain as a pro-inflammatory action to protect something that's not there. And so they feel that is pro-inflammation that's causing dementia. And that would explain then down the road why terpenes and why cannabis products have good results with dementia and with Alzheimer's and things like this, because they are return, exactly what I've mentioned. So they will reduce glutamate, they will introduce more GABA, they will interact with dopamine, serotonin, cortisol, all those chemicals. But what they will do is reduce and stop neural inflammation. Once that's stopped, the brain can communicate with the immune system again, and it will stop pro-inflammation or start it, or as we know how it works. Yeah. So if it's continuing to pro-inflame the brain and cause these amyloid plaques to bring dementia type issues to people, we need to stop that. That's the action. The amyloid plaque and dementia is the reaction. What's the action? And so the brain can't stop its pro-inflammation action. That's what's going on. These products, cannabis products, I'm not sure if pharmaceutical products even do that. I don't think they do, to be honest. Pharmaceutical products seem to sit in the world of reaction, as always.
Well, it's the anti-inflammatories. It's the anti-inflammatories.
Yeah, they're terrible. I mean, they ruin your stomach.
Well, that's
we've all had them.
Then you've got to take Nexium.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So, okay, cool. So that's where we're at. I'll just quickly say about focus. We've had businessmen who have used it, who've stopped taking their notebooks in the meetings because they can retain everything.
Good grief. What?
So
you're telling me that I can go to the supermarket and remember what I have to buy?
I think in time, yes. I reckon in time, yeah, there's no question. I mean, if we've got something important to do, if you've had a big drink the night before, I don't drink anymore, but if you take that the next morning, it's your hangover reverser, isn't it, Mark? Kind of,
I call it the Barocca.
That's right. Mark calls it Barocca. It's almost kind of like a Barocca.
I have focus every single day. I have beta-carotene every single day. I have engaged every single day. They are just amazing.
Yeah. Well, you're certainly full of energy, Mark. I mean, you're knocking on people's doors. You're getting out there. You're getting the money in.
He painted his whole house. He painted his whole house as well by himself.
Oh my God!
Yeah, he never stops.
That's amazing. So have we been through? And then of course there is. Oh no, you've also got the Breathe.
Breathe Easy is an efficient bronchodilator. And an expeller as well. It'll help you expel any dirt on the hairs on your lungs and things like that. It's a main ingredient of many asthma medications. Quinine.
Wow.
It's a main ingredient. Used in a what do they call it, in a mask?
In a mask.
No. Yeah, or an atomizer, all those sorts of things.
Oh, so you can.
It works.
So they're drops.
Yeah, they're still drops, but I'm just going on to tell you that, Pinene has got a 60% pulmonary uptake.
Can I put it in my diffuser, my ultrasonic diffuser, I can breathe it in?
Yeah, no question.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so, and arousal?
Arousal is, I love arousal. I take that one on a regular basis because it fits me, it makes me feel nice.
Okay.
We created this one with the intent of just settling the anxiety that is felt at that point. someone's life.
Okay.
And so when if you do some really deep, study on dysfunction or issues in the bedroom, if you like, just to keep it nice, it always seems to be anxiety.
Is it an aphrodisiac? Is it an aphrodisiac?
It is to a degree, yes. Okay. It has one of the, so limonene. Limonene is the main ingredient in arousal, limonene. And limonene is the highest terpene in some of the cannabises that make people feel great. Yeah, I know that's a bit hard to sort of get your head around, but there are some products out there, and even cannabis oils, if you like, that have got heavy limonene in there. And that's what makes you feel good. That's the part of cannabis that makes people feel good. And it also makes them feel aroused. That's the other thing. And so that's why I created this one with being a limonene heavy kind of product. So it's a limonene heavy, which is from citrus, limonene from citrus. And then it's also got pine in there to bring people up and get them excited and get them, sort of confident and energy up.
Okay.
And so the intention here.
I get it.
Yeah, you get
Say
it.
No more.
So the intention here was just to bring people together.
Yeah,
I understand. So like I said, when I take it, I just look at my wife and just love her. That's what I feel. That's what it makes. It kind of brings you closer, and once you're closer and all that sort of all that rubbish is gone, then obviously you're going to perform better, and it's going to work better. And I've been told that it does extend climax somewhat.
It's another miracle. Okay, so we've got.
I could never tell you what I've been told about it.
Yeah,
about that product.
Don't.
He's being very tame. I never tell the stories either.
Yeah, too much information. We're good on that one. So there is also let's talk about the prices, and let's talk about the special deals on this.
Oh, there's a spray. We didn't talk about the spray.
There's also a box that's got all of these in there called the Entourage box, which
that's correct. Yes.
I think this sort of product is a product range that every household needs. I mean, let's call it as it is.
No question.
You need this in your medicine cupboard. I need to just clarify here that with all of these products, they may assist in the condition, and they are not to replace the information you get from your medical practitioner. As a matter of fact, you should go and see your medical practitioner and let them know about taking these products if that's what you're planning to do at all times. So the Entourage box, for me, to be honest with you, it's an absolute no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. These products are going to be in every store throughout Australia, no doubt about it. But be the first here to do that through Heal Naturally. We've got the guys here. They've explained it all to you. I'm so excited about these products. Like, I was excited when I went to the festival, and when I first spoke about it, I was scratching my head, going past the stand, I don't know how many times, thinking, what else can I ask them? Should I bother? Because everything was going through my head. But everything you're mentioning here, I can relate to. So it's not just me. Everybody out there who's listening to this, you're going to be able to relate to everything that Frank and Mark have been talking about. And what have you got to lose? What have you got to lose? You do just take it. See what happens.
You could lose the chance. You could lose the chance to feel better.
You could lose the chance to feel better. And there isn't anybody out there, I don't care who they are, who isn't touched by one of the conditions at least that we've been talking about. Because I believe that everything that I've got is triggered by anxiety. Everything.
Yeah.
The joint pain, the insomnia, the anxiety, it's all stress, anxiety related. So get onto it, because the damage it's doing to your body.
I think you it can even save people's lives. I mean, one of our missions is to prevent suicide, teenage death, and I believe strongly, before we know it, with our engaged products, I'll be speaking in schools with Frank. You watch very soon. You know, after this, I've got a keynote at lunch. In an hour and a half, I'll be on stage talking to the corporate market, because that's where I come from. My networks where I normally train and do public speaking have invited me to say, what have you been doing, Mark? Why have you gone underground for the last, nobody's seen you for 6 months, right? They want to know about these products. You know what's going to happen when I talk today? Everyone's going to, exactly what you said. But I can tell you this, from our repeat buyers, we've got people, there are people in Canberra now that a guy bought 10 bottles the other day. The reason he did, his girlfriend was smoking bongs, depressed, not motivated. She had, on one day, was off the drugs, painting the house, motivated, now wants to get a job, doesn't take drugs. She's got self-esteem now, she's got composure, she's at peace, and he just loves it. And now he buys him boxes of 10 and he's telling all his friends and families. This can help save people's lives. We know that Beyond Blue and Headspace in Australia, you know, when we get set up correctly, we're going to donate money to these organisations because we believe in these products. As Frank said, I've seen, personally witnessed, over 4,000 people when I did 9 trade shows in less than 3 months. And Frank and I were doing a timeline yesterday, and if you can imagine the timeline of what has happened, what we've done in this short period of this company's not even 1 year old, not even 1 year old, and we have over 4,000 or 5,000 patients. We're going to be in hundreds of stores by the end of the year, and it will be a household brand. Why? Because it works. And it works effectively within 30 seconds. We see people, you know, in tears. I've seen at some of the trade shows where an 18-month-old baby's grinding its teeth, and it stopped instantly, and the parents were in tears.
Everyone else was too. Everyone around us too, because everyone could see it. There was all these other people at the counter, at the stand. And the gentleman was already emotional to begin with, because he just can't get any relief for his daughter who's got Rett syndrome. I'm not sure if you've heard of Rett, yeah? It's everything at once. It's autism, cerebral palsy, and a number of other things all at once. And the grinding of her teeth was so loud I could hear it over the crowd in the show, in the expo. And as Mark said, you know, it was a few drops under her tongue of the Engage, and it was obvious to me because I was looking at the child. I could see the relief, you know, from the forehead come down her face. Straight away there was relaxation. Straight away there was less grinding. He went off for about 40 minutes. He came back and he was bawling his eyes out, absolutely bawling his eyes out, because he couldn't believe that she'd got 40 minutes of relief. He then emailed me about 4 or 5 hours later and informed me that she'd had 5 hours of relief and barely grind her teeth.
Well, you know, it's compelling evidence that you're talking about.
It is,
and as I said before, it sounds too good to be true, and I'm so excited for the two of you. Can I just tell you? But I'm more excited for the public. I'm more excited for the public, because if this does what we've been talking about, and I'm sure it does, this is going to help just so many people in their everyday lives. I mean, every family could do their own trial.
Yeah, that's
how it got into the first retail shop in Melbourne.
How?
So as one salesperson would, you go cold calling into shops and you say, you know, I've got this product, and of course it's not my industry, but anyhow I did it. and I had anxiety around it. So, you know, the sales trainer becomes now, oh my God, I've got all this, you know, pressure going on. Anyhow, so a lot of people were not open to it. They just didn't know what it was and just sort of shut you down. But there was one particular store, I won't go into the store, but I gave it to him. I told the owner of this store, which was a pharmacist as well. I said, I've watched many people, thousands of people, help with their anxiety within 30. He said, no way. I said, please take a few cents. He said, all right, leave me a couple. So I did. Within 10 minutes, he called me and he said, "Are you still in the city?" I said, "Yes." He said, "I can't believe it. I've given it to one of my customers," and he basically had 30 seconds under the tongue, instant relief for the anxiety, controlled it, and basically bought the product, come back in, give me the samples, and stock my shop. And that is how the product got into the first Melbourne shop 4 months ago.
Okay, my battery's running
From a
low.
cold call.
My battery's running low, so we're going to have to wrap this up. Now, the recommended retail price on the individual products is $65 for a 30 ml bottle. Or you can buy and you'll have all of this on the website, or you can have the Entourage pack, which is the whole lot, for $441. That's on the www.healnaturally.com.au site. What are we doing for our listeners today? What deal can you give us?
So what we're going to do for the first 2 weeks for everybody on this podcast, we're going to put them, reduce them from $65 to $55. Okay, for the first. So it's a $10 saving. And then what we're going to do is, if you want to get the Entourage pack, we're going to drop the Entourage pack from $441 to $370.
Hi everyone, I apologise for that technical glitch there towards the end of the podcast. The podcast was only supposed to go for half an hour, and of course it's gone for over an hour, so I apologise for that. But there was just so much fantastic information about these amazing products. Just to clarify again and to repeat that amazing offer that Frank and Mark are offering Heal Naturally customers, the 30 ml individual bottles from Primal Organix, they retail at $65 and you receive $10 off, down to $55, which is amazing. That's for the entire range of the individual products. And then you have the Entourage pack. Now, the Entourage pack is all of those beautiful products that we were talking about in a box, packaged up beautifully. And the recommended retail on that is $441, and that will be down to $370, but only for the first 50 customers. So don't miss out on these amazing specials. As we mentioned during the podcast show, these particular products will be throughout Australia in no time. You have the opportunity to buy them and be one of the first to buy these amazing products. And all you need to do is go to www.healnaturally.com.au. In the product section, you will see the category Primal Organix, and the promo codes for these specials will be typed up at where the description is, on top of the description, and all you need to do is put whichever of the products you want in your shopping cart, and don't forget to add the promo code for your discount. Thank you very much for joining us. Heal Naturally with Athena. I look forward to seeing you again with some more amazing products.